First live, first podcast and live you've done here. No, you've done lives downstairs, right?
Not virtual.
Okay, welcome everyone live in the masterclass. If you guys are watching right now live, leave a comment below in the chat. Let me know where you're coming in from, where you're watching from live, and share with me one thing you're grateful for today. And I'm excited to see how many people are here for this. We're also going to be recording it, but right now we are live. So welcome to this special masterclass. I am here in Nashville, Tennessee with my good friend Rory Vaden at his brand new office, Brand Builders Group headquarters. And we're going to be talking about something both of us have never talked about together at the same time. And Rory's going to share some strategies about tactically how to develop the frameworks to support you in figuring out what type of money you want to make, how to make more, and how to make it easier for you tactically and strategically. In the first part, though, I'm going to share some concepts around my new book, Make Money Easy, which a lot of you are here for right now. I'm in the middle of this launch right now. And this is all about identifying your money story, understanding why you're at the specific level financially you're at currently, whether you're in your business or you've got a career, and how to break free emotionally from the blocks that might be holding you back to create more financial abundance in the external world, but also in the internal world, creating more abundance within you, feeling more financially at peace and having more inner peace. So I'm very excited to be here. Rory, thanks for being here. And this could be a powerful episode for people. Very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm so excited to do this. Let's make it happen. Let's help people make money easy.
That's it. That's it. And the first thing is, I think the reason why so many people on my tour have been coming out, a lot of people have been getting the book, is because a lot of people struggle with figuring out how to make money, but also how to feel good with the money they have and feel good with the money they don't have.
Yep.
In this whole masterclass, I want people to get some strategies on how to unlock abundance. And I want you to push back on me on this. I want you to think about these 4 different ways of living life. The first way of living life is living financially broke and emotionally broke at the same time. So having no money, having debt, living off credit cards, week to week, day by day, not knowing how you're going to make money, but also feeling scarce emotionally inside, living in fear, anger, regret, resentment, whatever it might be, and living in that space. That's the place no one wants to live in that place.
For sure.
Financially poor and spiritually poor. Right?
Well, for sure. And I think one of the biggest insights of all, like as I was hearing about the book and looking at some of the early writing and stuff that you did, was just helping people right away divorce those 2 concepts.
Yes.
That how much money you have and how happy you are completely disconnected.
Right.
One can go up, the other can go up, they can go down. We all think they're intricately connected, but they don't have to be.
Yes.
I think we know plenty of people who have a lot of money financially, but are emotionally or spiritually bankrupt.
Exactly. And the first level is both of those, bankrupt in both areas. And if you've ever felt financially broke and spiritually or emotionally broke at the same time, then feel free to leave a comment or nod wherever you are in the world right now, listening or watching. The second way of living life is financially broke, but feeling abundant emotionally inside. And I remember a time when I was on my sister's couch about 15 years ago, where I was financially broke and I was broken emotionally. I didn't know what my purpose was. I was resentful, I was angry, I was stressed out, I was worried, and I was uncertain. So I was living in this state of scarcity and almost closed offness. And I didn't know what directions to take. So I was feeling both the broke areas. But then I started to get off my, kind of depressed emotional state. And I said, okay, I'm in this place. How can I get past it? Let me start finding mentors. Let me start reading and learning and developing skills. Let me start figuring out what my fears are and start overcoming those fears. And by taking these actions and starting to have the courage to overcome the fears, it was almost like I was just like the most joyful, happy person. I was overcoming things that I never thought I could overcome, which gave me confidence. which gave me more courage to try new things that were scary. I was meeting people. People were introducing me to opportunities. It was just like, it felt like I was living an abundant life, even though I was still financially broke.
Sure.
So it's better to be in that state because you feel free. It's like, it doesn't matter if I have money or not. I can do anything with my life. And that was a beautiful place to be in. Now, I still wanted to make money. I didn't want to be on my sister's couch broke, but I felt like excited about life. And I think when you feel helpless in life, it's hard to attract opportunities.
Totally.
And it's hard to feel good when you feel helpless. So the goal is to go from broke financially and broke emotionally to how can I start shifting that energy inside of me to start feeling more abundant and expanding that energy. Now, level number 3 way of living is rich financially and broke spiritually.
Yeah.
You talked about this before. After a while, I started to make money getting off my sister's couch. I started like this abundant energy that I was creating inside of me was building momentum, and I started to make money. Now, I was kind of all over the place on how I was making money, which is what I want you to talk about today, on how to focus our attention and energy to create more wealth in one place rather than scattering energy. I was like, I'm going to try everything. And it worked until a period of time where it doesn't work. We'll get to that in a bit. But I was getting really good at bringing energy to life and finding opportunities and taking on everything. The challenge was, after a few years of doing that, I had $1 million in the bank, but I was taking Greyhound buses around the country. 12-hour trips when I could just take a 1-hour flight.
Yeah.
I was taking 3 connecting flights in the middle seat of Southwest Airlines and staying on a friend's couch as opposed to just buying a normal ticket direct and getting a hotel room, because I was like, why would I spend $300 on a hotel room? I could buy like a half a laptop for that. I was like, I couldn't understand with reasoning spending more money and investing it in me. So I was like, I need to save so I don't go back on my sister's couch and live in scarcity again. So by emotionally living in scarcity, I was working really, really hard to make money, but still not feeling emotionally free. It was almost like once the money came, I got away from that abundant feeling and started feeling scarce again. Now the 4th level.
That happens a lot, by the way, to people who are new to money. This happened to me. I was raised by a single mom. We grew up poor. Like, our cereal was out of a bag. You know, I didn't have Air Jordans. I had Air Jordache, like from Famous Footwear. Like that was what we could afford. And when you grow up, or when you move from that state of I've never had money, and then you work really hard on yourself and on your business, and you make some money, you still emotionally, mentally are still living in fear.
Yes,
you have that scarcity of like, I'm not mature enough emotionally to deal with this money that I have, which can be actually a super dangerous place for people.
Very dangerous. And I talk about this in the book, Make Money Easy, that I was living in a fancy apartment building in Los Angeles 5 years ago. And I went out for a road trip. And when I came back, a weekend road trip, and I came back and I was driving into the valet. This is a very fancy building. Lots of like billionaires live there, celebrities, like people with a lot of money, famous people live there. And so I thought, oh man, this is where like the people who have it all figured out live, right? And I was renting an apartment there. And I come back from this road trip. And as I'm entering the valet, and the valet attendant is going to take my car, I see a white tent in the driveway of the building. This is a 50-story building, right? And I just kind of make a joke. I say, someone didn't jump, did they? And the valet attendant said, yeah, it just happened like 30 minutes ago.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I was kind of in shock. It like broke my mind, where I was like, wait, he's joking, right? Like, how could someone in this building where I live, and I see people every day who have all the money in the world, the fanciest cars, $1 million cars in the driveway constantly, how could someone jump and take his life? I started to learn more about this person who I'd seen throughout the building a few different times, who always seemed like he had things put together. But it was the day after Father's Day, and I learned that he was estranged from his son, who was a teenage son. He didn't have a relationship with his son. This person was also worth about $500 million.
Jeez.
He was worth all the money in the world, but he didn't know how to either love and accept himself. He didn't have rich relationships, and something was scarce within him that caused him to end his own life. I don't know what exactly that is, but you don't hurt yourself or take your life if you feel abundant, if you have beautiful relationships, if you have purpose and meaning. You don't do that. And again, all the money in the world can't help you heal yourself. It just reveals more of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It reveals if you're stuck, trapped, angry, it's going to reveal and make you feel even more painful. The challenging thing is when I started making money, I thought it was going to make me feel more secure. The challenging thing is energetically, when you have the money and you still hate yourself, it's not a pretty place to be in.
It's more dangerous, and
It's more because you have more that you can do to hurt yourself.
You do, and you also have been let down, right?
Because you thought dream of making the money. Now I'm going to feel fine,
and now you don't have it, and that also leaves you hopeless to go, well, if money doesn't give me this, nothing will.
Or let me try drugs. Let me try alcohol. Let me try sex. Let me try porn. Let me try all these other things that I can get my hands on now because I have money. Let me try the fancy cars. Let me try more watches or clothes, whatever it is. And nothing fills that void of creating abundance within you.
Yeah.
And so that fourth level is how can we go through these levels or jump to the level of abundance financially and abundance emotionally, where we're getting out of fear, resentment, anger, stress, all these different things, and getting into peace and harmony and alignment. Now, it doesn't mean that every day is going to be perfect and you're not going to be faced with challenges, but it's having these specific routines and a knowing and a way of being inside of us that feels peaceful more than it feels scarce and chaotic. And this whole masterclass, Make Money Easy, is about unlocking abundance for you. And I want to talk about two ideas really quick. These two ideas are very simple. If you've been watching the podcast or listening to the podcast for years, you already know this concept. You've heard these concepts a million times. This is not something new necessarily, but the reason I've been doing my show for 12 years, every single week for 12 years, it's not because I'm always looking for new ideas. It's because I constantly want reminders that I'm going in the right direction and to stay accountable, right? It's not like every guest I have on, I learn something new. Sometimes I just hear the same thing by a different messenger that I need to keep reminding myself to lean into. And these two concepts, our beliefs, are based around our memories of our life and our experiences and the meaning we give those memories. That shapes the way we think. All of our experiences in life, the people we've met, the things we've heard, the things we've done, things that have happened to us, good, bad, whatever, the meaning we give those experiences shapes our beliefs. Everyone here knows this. But our beliefs dictate and influence our behaviors, how we act on a consistent basis. And so if we are living with a belief system that we are unworthy, we're unlovable, we're not enough, we're going to act in alignment with that belief system and probably be more people pleasers, not create boundaries, eat poorly, whatever it might be, not take care of ourselves, and not go for what we truly desire and want, because these beliefs are going to hold us back and be living in accordance with that. If we believe that life is abundant and opportunities come to us and I'm worthy of good love and I'm worthy of having a healthy body, then our behaviors typically will match those beliefs as well. So the first thing is identifying is what is inside of us. What is inside of us that is supporting us or holding us back emotionally from being where we're at, and to identify which one of these four levels we're currently living in. Are we living in financial scarcity and emotional scarcity? Are we living in level 2 of financial scarcity and abundance emotionally, or some type of like joy emotionally? Are we living in financial freedom but scarcity emotionally, or are we living in financial freedom and abundance emotionally? And so it's to identify which level am I at, and how are my beliefs and my behaviors supporting or hurting me in being stuck in one of those levels or getting to the level I want to.
Can I draw this out?
Go ahead.
Because as you're talking, I'm just really...
You have a framework.
Well, it's your framework.
Yes.
But as you're talking,
closer to you.
here's what I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
It's like you go, I'm financially rich.
Yeah.
I'm emotionally rich. And what you have here is just simple quadrants, right?
Yes.
So this person, this is your, as you call it,
Yep.
level 1, right?
Yes.
Right. So we've got this. Pull up the page. You got level 2 is I'm emotionally rich,
Yep.
but I'm financially broke. So this was when you started to believe in yourself and you're on your sister's couch. This one is the one that we were talking about, which is super dangerous, which is I have money, but I'm not super stable. And then this is the one that we're trying to get to,
Yes.
which is I've got both.
Yeah, and this is on page 16 of the book as well. For a lot of you guys who already have the book, if you don't have the book, we've got some of these frameworks in there. But a lot of us are just like, I want more money. How do I make more money? That's what we're thinking.
Right.
And especially if you're watching this right now, if you're into this money content, you're thinking, how do I make more money? How do I feel better about my money? And what do I do to get there? And what if I'm doubting myself? What if I always sabotage it? What if I've made money, but then I've lost it all and I feel like it's going to happen again? You have the belief that's going to trap you or hold you back. And so the first part of this is really understanding our beliefs and our behaviors. Are they supporting us in living the life we want to live? And if not, there's different strategies, tools, things that you can do to overcome that. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it because you're worth it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I want people to imagine something I've been talking about that I think is really important as I've been doing the research on this book. And in no way have I mastered money or am I the guru to talk about money. I'm an investigator interviewing. Was that sound like an earthquake? The ground is shaking right now. We're talking about these things are powerful. I'm an investigator trying to find out from the masters what brings them to level essentially 4 of emotional peace and financial peace. That's what I'm looking to create and find. And I've been asking people this exercise. I want to ask you this exercise, and everyone watching or listening, I want you to imagine this. And I've been asking people while I was on tour, and it's been fascinating to hear the response. So imagine the idea of money in your life, but it was in the form of a person. And use the idea of money is represented within a person in life. It doesn't have to be like a friend of yours, but just the idea of money is a person. However you think and feel about money is in a person's body. And imagine, Rory, that person, the idea of money, walks in the door and stands right in front of you. What's the first thing you think about internally? What do you say? What do you not say? How does it make you feel emotionally? Do you feel safe? Do you feel excited? Do you feel worried? And before you answer, I'm going to give a couple of responses I've heard from people so you can think about it. I asked someone in their late 20s, I said, you're at a restaurant and the idea of money walks in the door. What do you do? And this person said, well, right away, I would run to the bar and hide because I wouldn't want to see money. And I was just like, what? Okay, tell me more. Well, then I would start talking bad about money behind its back. I would start gossiping about it as it's in the room over there. Then if it came up to me, I would act like I was his friend. I would act nice to it and be like, how are you? Then I would use and abuse money when I needed it, and I would ghost money if it ever reached it out to me. And I was just like, wow, that seems like a very unhealthy relationship with money. And they were like, I know. And I go, that's interesting. And it doesn't make it right or wrong, good or bad. I want you to ask yourself, if money walks in the door, how would I respond? And in that response, is that response helping me get to the level of emotional and financial peace and freedom that I want? And if you could think of money as a relationship, because it is, you just don't know it's a relationship. If you think of it as a relationship, how is that relationship serving you? And imagine if this was a friend or a family member of yours, and you used and abused it, you ghosted it, you talked bad about it behind its back. How do you think that friend would feel if you treated it that way? Versus if you treated it in a healthier way. And when you treat money in a healthier way, it's going to start feeling good when you have it, and you're not going to feel afraid when you're spending it or it's leaving you. We want money to be able to come and go, and you feel good either way. It's really hard when you're broke and you've got bills and you're living in debt to think this way. But when we can get emotionally safe in our nervous system around the idea of money being around us, in our bank, on the floor, someone handing it to us giving it, us tipping, us receiving gifts, all these conversations around money, whatever it is, if we can start to feel better about it, it's going to come to us more freely and it's going to feel more enjoyable when we have it. So money walks in the door, Rory. What's the thing that you think or feel? Honest answer.
Okay. So I want to answer in the
Yes.
the lens of
Go ahead.
this. So I'll tell you, when I growing up poor, how I would have answered this question through each stage of my life.
Perfect.
So stage one, I would have been scared of it.
Yep.
I would afraid that I don't know enough about it to approach it. I would be afraid that it was too good for me. I was just scared of I've heard what it might do to people. I was scared of money.
Based on your beliefs.
Based on my beliefs. Money makes you evil.
Yeah.
Like only if you're rich, you can't be holy. Like even also just like financial intelligence, like I don't know how to read a stock symbol. I don't know how companies are valued. I don't understand investments. I don't understand banks. Like, anything with percentages. It's like I feel scared or intimidated
Yes.
by it, which means I'm running away from money. That's era one, Rory.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say era two, Rory, is probably going, my relationship with money is that like I'm above it. I don't need it because in my case, I'm a hardcore Bible thumping Jesus freak. You know that, right? So I go, money doesn't create happiness. A relationship with God and service of others is what creates happiness.
So I don't need money.
I don't need money. I have God. I have service. I have relationships.
And so you'd probably give your services for free. You'd undervalue yourself.
Yeah,
You'd discount your services. You'd say, pay what you want to pay.
Perhaps. But it's almost like I don't care about that because I have my emotional stability, which is great. Like that is true. I have a lot of stability emotionally, but I'm limited in my ability to provide jobs for other people. I'm limited in my ability to give. I'm limited in my ability to expand a vision that creates opportunity for people around me because I'm above money. I don't need money. I found this, right? So there's a part of it that's super duper healthy, but there's a part of it that's also limiting and restricting. And one of the things I would say about this quadrant, this category, is going, even though I think it is true to have emotional, spiritual stability and strength without money, it still means that I'm too good for money, which means I don't have a healthy relationship with it. Because what that is saying is to go, if money were here, something would be wrong with me, which means I don't have a healthy relationship. And it also means money doesn't show up. If money isn't wanted, it doesn't come. And if I think that when it's here, I am wrong, that's a conflict. Now, up here, here's the problem with this one, and I've had phases of this in my life.
This is rich, but...
Right. This is financially rich, but emotionally broke. This is when I have worshipped money.
You obsessed about it.
Obsessed. All that matters is hitting our revenue budget, hitting our profitability, getting debt free, getting this, my retirement accounts to a certain level. It's like I'm so consumed with this that like I've lost sight of this, either because I'm unaware of how much the emotional side and being emotionally abundant and spiritually abundant matters, and I'm so focused on this, or because I believe that this is the thing that's going to make me feel important. This is the thing that's going to make me feel successful.
Accolades, acknowledgement, success,
fame.
Numbers, fame, awards.
Yeah, you could worship your followers on social. This is the same. It's a very similar relationship between income and influence, right? As I can worship influence of like, I'm only important if I have so many followers, whatever. So really similar. Now, you asked me today, and this is a long journey. Rory's gone through all of
And
these.
most people can never get past this, especially if you're an entrepreneur. They kind of get trapped in this, or they hit their midlife crisis and they start, either going harder into that to have more success and power and fame. And hopefully people learn how to say, money isn't everything. It's one thing, but really I need to live a healthy life. I want to have a beautiful relationship with my spouse, my kids. Hopefully people get to that, but not everyone can.
No, you can't. There's a lot of roadblocks here, and there's a lot of bad advice. And here's the thing, some people have a lot of money, but they're not great models to model after because they're over here. And there are some people who have really great lives, but they're also maybe not the best to model after because they don't have any of the money part. It's pretty rare, I think, to find people that are living up here. So you asked me the question today.
Money walks in the door.
Money walks in the door. First of all, that is my wife. My wife, AJ, her spiritual gift is making money.
Wow.
And what I would say is the way that I would view that today is partnership. I have a partnership with money. And I think part of the reason why AJ and I have been able to do things that have created both financial wellness and emotional and spiritual wellness is because we're in partnership with money, right? I look very much like you that way. Lewis is a partner. I don't look at Lewis and go, oh, here's my chance to get something from Lewis. I go, what can I give to Lewis that we could do together to create opportunity for other people, and we get to go along for the ride.
Yes.
So I would say that is how I would look at money today. It's a tool, it's a resource. We work in a symbiotic, a partnership. It's a relationship. But nobody has ever asked that question, and I've never heard anyone use that analogy.
It's good, right?
It's so good. It's so good.
Because it brings it back to the emotional side of things. And it
makes it real.
It makes it real, and it brings it back to the how do I feel. And so many people on this book tour that I've been going on, I've having them do this exercise and share with each other at these live events. And to hear the responses are fascinating. And you start to see, oh, okay, not everyone has like this horrible toxic relationship, but some people do, where they're like, I have no problems with money except because I'm always the giver. And I have money, so I just give it generously, and I always help out other people. But then when you start to uncover it, maybe they don't think they have something wrong or off with money. But then I'm like, yeah, but how does it feel to receive? And you're like, I don't do that well. And so when you're not able to receive a gift, someone paying for your dinner, which is something I did for a long time when I had money because I felt guilt that now I have money and I want to take care of others and I just want to keep giving and giving and giving. So I never received. You're actually blocking that flow of abundance to come back to you. You're blocking someone else's generosity, their ability to create abundance for themselves by being generous to you. And you're essentially saying no to money or no to opportunities when you're just always the giver and not also allowing yourself to receive.
Yeah, you're scared. You're scared of it. You're
Exactly.
scared of money coming to you.
Exactly. So you're limiting yourself for your ability to feel abundance internally and to create that externally. And again, it's all starting with the energy of how I feel around money. When you think about money or talk about money, how do you feel? Can you have open conversations with people about money, or do you guard yourself around that? Do you look at your bank account obsessively and making sure that it never goes down, or do you not look at your bank account at all? And
you're terrified.
Yeah, because you're terrified, and you just keep spending and spending and spending. I had one of the people that on my team. I said, "What's your relationship like with money?" They're like, "Whenever I get money, I spend it right away because I don't like having it. I just want to go buy something." And this isn't a right or wrong, good or bad conversation. Sure. This is just to notice and have awareness. Is that relationship with money that you have supporting you in your life and feeling financially free and emotionally secure and abundant as well? If you have to spend it so quickly, then something is blocking you from feeling emotionally secure when it comes to you and when it goes to you, etc.
Well, and I love when you talk about beliefs up here. If you go, what are my beliefs here? My belief is I'm not good enough for money.
Yeah.
This belief is like, oh, I'm too good for money. I don't need money.
I'm above money. Yeah.
This is money is all that matters.
Money is my God.
Yeah, money is the scoreboard. Money is my God. And this is money is a tool.
Exactly.
Money is a vehicle. Money is an opportunity.
Money is energy. Yeah. And again, and how can we understand where we are in this lens? I love this story. Did you ever read or watch any of Wayne Dyer's content?
No, I actually haven't, but I've heard little snippets and clips.
He's got I never got to watch him live. He's no longer here with us, but he has a great book called The Power of Intention. And before I do anything, Rory, I think about what's my intention in this moment. I'm sure you do this. Maybe you're just like, you pray in the morning, you're thinking about how you want to be of service in the day. Like when I'm on tour right now, I'm thinking right before I go on, I say, what's my intention? And I always think about your quote, it's hard to be nervous when your heart's on service. And so I always just think I'm here to serve. I don't care if it's 1,000,000 people are here or one person, I'm here to serve. How can I serve the best? And then I just start thinking about that energy into my intention. And that's the way I think about living life right now. But a lot of people aren't clear on how they show up in life. And Wayne Dyer used to have this story when he would go on stage. He would bring an orange on stage. I should have brought an orange, I didn't have one, but imagine I've got an orange in my hand. And he would go out there and he would ask people, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out of the orange? What would you say?
Juice. Mm-hmm.
Juice. Now, does apple juice come out of an orange?
Yeah, no.
Does grape juice come out of an orange?
No, never.
Watermelon juice come out of an orange?
Never.
No. Orange juice comes out of an orange, and Wayne Dyer would say, because that's what's inside. And so we have to ask ourselves, and this is where we get to reflect of our own life, when we are applied pressure in life, there could be a good pressure or a bad pressure. You could get $1 million client. That's a good pressure. It's like, wow, all this energy is happening. Makes me feel something. And when that pressure is applied, what comes out of you is whatever's inside of you.
That's good.
Your beliefs. What comes out of you is your behaviors based on your belief. If you believe I'm not enough, I am unlovable, I am unworthy, I'm not deserving, then you're going to have that energy that comes out of you when you're applied pressure. I dealt with a lot of kind of like abuse and feeling abandoned when I was a kid by different moments. And these moments created memories, and these memories created meaning. I developed the meaning. So when I felt applied pressure in my 20s and 30s, from the littlest stuff, someone cutting me off in the street to someone, whatever, feeling like they're taking advantage of me in my business, I would get angry because that's what was inside of me. So that energy was not abundant. It was scarce. And so I want people to think about that. And it doesn't mean it was always that way. When something good would happen, I'd get excited. I'd be joyful because I had that inside of me too. But you want to think about what's inside of you that's causing you to lean in to the opportunities that are in your life because you've got joy and curiosity and courage and excitement in your life? Or are you feeling stuck and you feel like everything's against you because you still are holding on to beliefs that you haven't learned to process and heal throughout life? And when we can start to heal that energy and transform that energy into something more powerful, our beliefs shift and our behaviors typically are in alignment with those beliefs. And hopefully we can move from these stages into a stage of peace emotionally and peace financially. And so those are some of the things that I wanted to start with.
Love that.
And you mentioned this. The best way to going from feeling helplessness and going into hopefulness is living in a state of gratitude and generosity, because those are the gateway to abundance.
Jack, can you unpack that? Because
Yes.
That's one of the things you talk about.
Yes.
Is that like basically generosity and
Gratitude
gratitude
specifically. And generosity combined is the gateway to abundance.
So unpack that a little bit. Like what do you mean?
If you're
by that?
ungrateful, you're not going to feel emotionally free. If you're feeling constantly like a victim and that everything is against you and you're not grateful for anything, there's not a good energy inside of you. And you're not able to create from a peaceful state. You might be able to react from a frustrated state and create results in your life and make money from a pissed off state, people hurt me, so I'm going to prove them wrong state.
There's a lot of successful people who are tremendously insecure.
100%.
Like you can still be
You can still make
successful.
Yeah, you can still get great results, but you're not going to feel emotionally free.
Yeah.
Because you're not living in gratitude, and you're probably not living in generosity. You might be living in generosity as a strategy, but not feeling appreciated because you're not grateful. So your appreciation only grows once you learn to appreciate yourself. Then you'll continue to appreciate in value. But if you're depreciating yourself or living in a victim state of energy, then you're going to make money, but your abundance feeling is going to stay stuck and trapped. And so it's going to feel like a big gap, and you're going to get more frustrated. You're going to have all the money in the world and be more miserable than ever because it's not making you feel whole. So the goal is, how do we get back to wholeness? How do we feel whole emotionally in our beliefs and start to mend those memories that caused that pain, so we're emotionally whole, spiritually whole, connected to God, and trusting, having faith, living in appreciation and gratitude, and then being generous with our time, generous with our attention when we're with our friends, our partners, our loved ones, generous with our knowledge, generous with our resources. It doesn't always mean you have to be generous with money. When you don't have money, you don't have to give lots of money to be generous. I was broke and I felt extremely generous because I was calling people, I was texting people, just telling them how awesome they were doing. I was asking people curious questions and they felt like I was really invested in their life. That's generosity as well.
There's so much you can give to people
So much.
that's not money.
So much.
You can give them help, you can give them encouragement, you can give them praise, you can introduce them, you can give them opportunities, you can give them, other little presents. Like you can make introductions.
And isn't it interesting that like the things that we value the most are always more than money?
Yeah.
I can't remember the stat, but you probably know this, but it's like something like most people would rather just get acknowledged in their workforce. Like employees would rather get acknowledged than just make a little bonus of extra money.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like a Gallup study, and it's something that like if a ranking of what's most important to employees,
Exactly.
compensation's like number 4.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't mean it's not important.
It's not important,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not number 1.
See, exactly. It's like feeling valued.
You're talking about appreciating yourself,
Yes.
but also like appreciating others. Like verbal appreciation is a form of currency, and it's unlimited.
Massive.
It's
You
unlimited.
can give it to people all day long. And so on my book tour, I was having people meet up with each other, whether they came with friends or they came solo. I'd have them partner up, and I'd say, just share 2 things you're grateful for from today. It can be simple stuff. And then I want you to share 1 thing that you either like or appreciate about the person in front of you. If you know them, then you can talk about something you appreciate about them. Or if you're just meeting them, you can talk about, their hairstyle or their energy or whatever it is you're seeing. And I would ask people, like, after this simple 60-second exercise, how did it make you feel? And everyone was like, man, I just feel like I feel accepted. I feel good. I feel valued. I feel like I'm remembering the things I care about. And that is an energy shift, a simple way of shifting energy where you feel better internally and you're making someone else feel better. That's gratitude and generosity. That is the gateway to abundance and unlocking that opportunity flow for you.
And when you say energy,
Yes.
just to like make this super like practical, scientific for people, like sometimes when we hear the word energy, we go like think kind of woo-woo, but like literally there's been experiments with a plant where if you say positive things to the plant, like it grows, and if you say negative things to the plant, like it
shrinks,
dies, it starts to shrink, right? So it's like our words have actual energy.
Yes.
The waves, they can be measured, right? And so you go, what are you saying to yourself about yourself? What are you saying about the people around you? What are you saying to yourself about money?
Yes.
It's like you're literally creating the energy, financial energy all around you.
And I write this in the book, Make Money Easy, where I interviewed, again, it's not like I've mastered this fully and I'm like here to like preach like everything that I know. I've interviewed a lot of the experts. I've been through these stages of my life, and I'm constantly in a journey of staying in a state of abundance emotionally and energetically, and creating that financial peace financially as well. But one of the experts that I interviewed, his name is Ken Honda. I love this guy's work. He's got a book called Happy Money, and he's from Japan. And he's talking about the art of finding peace and happiness with your money. I think the book has sold 10 million copies around the world, but mostly in Japan, huge. And he said, you need to speak, again, going back to the idea of like, if money walked into the room, how would you respond? And my friend said that they would talk bad about it, and then they would act nice to its face. They would use and abuse it, and then they would ghost it. Imagine that person was your spouse, your best friend, or a friend in your life.
Like that person's not hanging around.
They're not hanging around. So if you're speaking bad to money, again, this might sound woo-woo, but the energy of speaking poorly to money and saying, God, that person did something bad to get that money. I don't need money. Money's this, money's dirty. I don't like that. I don't have to do this stuff for money. Like if you're speaking negative about it, why would that the opportunities start to come to you. Why would people want to bring you opportunities when you reject them? When you say, no, I don't like that. Why would this happen? If we can start speaking to money differently, and Ken Honda says every time he gets money, he says thank you to money. And again, this is like, it might be a little weird or different, but this is a whole new concept around money mindset. It doesn't mean he's worshiping money. It doesn't mean he's making it a god. He just says, oh, someone gave me $5 today. Oh, thank you. It's appreciating the gesture. I say thank you internally, or I'll say thank you externally. And he says, I find money all the time, and I do this too. I find a penny and I say thank you. Thank you for coming to my life. Even if it's a penny, we have to appreciate and acknowledge the little stuff, and it'll keep growing into the bigger stuff. And he says, thank you to money when he has to spend it. So a lot of us say, I'm grateful when money comes, but I don't like it when I have to pay on taxes, or I have to pay this bill or this thing, or I got charged this thing. We don't like that. Typically, we don't like it. But he says, you want to thank money when it comes, and then you want to say, what's my intention? Where do you want to go? So he says, oh, I got a check for $1,000. Thank you. Where do you want to go? Just a little in his mind. Do you want to go in my bank account? Do you want to go into investments? Do you want me to give you to someone who needs this money right now? Do you want me to give this to a friend? Do you want me to just pay for people's coffee today? Whatever it is, he says, where do you want to go? These little moments, little acts of creating a different relationship with your money. And again, not making it like some worshiping thing, but just feeling good when it comes and when it goes. And I think that will make you feel more emotionally abundant in your life with that type of process. And when you're spending on things, instead of being frustrated that you have to spend money on a cell phone bill, say thank you for allowing me to invest in beautiful conversations with the people I love and care. I can FaceTime people around the world that I care about. Thank you for this opportunity. So it's just starting to shift our energy around it in specific ways. And if we can do that, I feel like it will make us feel abundant in those two phases, feeling emotionally abundant, even if we're broke, or abundant when we have money.
Yeah, and when I think about my own journey of sort of financial literacy, financial freedom, I think early in my life, I tried to capture money.
Yes.
And the idea was like, I want to gather as much in and have as little as much go out. And that is what I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. How
And
do I keep stacking?
I just want to stack
it.
it. What's interesting is part of why generosity, giving money is so good, is because it allows you to develop a healthy detachment from money.
Yes.
I can give money. It doesn't control me. I control it. And that's part of what I think financially giving does, is it creates a healthy separation. Because what I noticed that ultra rich people do, they don't try to capture money. They try to be a conduit of money.
Yes, it flows in and out.
It's flowing in and out. And what happens is when you capture it, you're trying to hold it.
You're blocking the flow.
And you're blocking the flow. But it's like, if I'm a conduit, like a pipe, and I'm bigger, my pipe gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and more money just is constantly flowing through me. That's how I think it's like money leaves residue. And it's like you capture a little bit of it stays. But the other thing is, money captured is useless. Money is only has value when we use it, right? When we give it to somebody, when we buy something we need, when we invest in an opportunity. And that's like, when your mindset is capture it, you're thinking of money as the end game. What rich people do is they think of money as a vehicle, right? It's just like it's just a tool. It's part of the process. And that was like a big limiting belief, or way that my relationship for much of my life was restricted.
And this whole process of this book, Make Money Easy, is essentially about, actually, before I even share that, about what this whole process is, I want you to leave in the comments on YouTube or on social media the biggest takeaway or aha moment so far. Because there's a lot that me and Rory have been talking about that we probably never both shared together like this ever. Stuff that you don't talk about.
No, I don't.
That's even stuff's coming up for you that you're like realizing as you're sharing some of this stuff. So share in the comments right now the biggest takeaway, the biggest aha, or the moment that you've enjoyed the most so far. And make sure to also get the book if you haven't yet. And all this stuff kind of is laid out in this process. This is not about investing or like finances. It's not what this is about. There's no like charts on how to like budget in here. This is not what this book is. It's everything we've been talking about, which is understanding the energy within you to create the life that you want. And this whole thing that you just said, what did you call it? Like a pipe or something?
A conduit.
Conduit.
A conduit, yeah.
The whole goal is for us to be able to expand our spiritual conduit, our soul's capacity, and our nervous system's capacity to receive more money so that we can receive and give it freely and be of service at the highest level, and whatever that is for us. But if our nervous system is trapped because our beliefs are blocked from what is possible for us, or because we're living in the past or the wounds, or we've given meaning to pain and we don't feel we're deserving and worthy, then our nervous system is blocking our soul's ability to be a conduit, to expand, to receive and give greater. And that's what this whole thing is about. This process with the frameworks and the teachings and the lessons is how do we open our heart more to receive and give. And I don't even know if you knew that's what this was about before we even jumped in here, because I was like, all right, Roy, we're going to talk about the energy of money and the mindset of money. And then I want you to teach people the practical strategies that you've been doing with Brand Builders Group to help people really get focused in on what their unique gifts and talents are to serve at the greatest level so they can receive financially in the external world and feel like they're on mission and on purpose, because that is true abundance. It's not making money on something you care nothing about. You and I can make a lot of money doing a lot of things, but like you say, just because you can doesn't mean you should. We could launch a, I don't know, shoe company tomorrow, or a toothbrush company, or whatever, skincare line, but it doesn't mean we don't enjoy those things, but it's not our main purpose right now.
Yeah, totally.
And just because we can make money doing something doesn't mean we should. And there was a point in time where I was making money in a lot of different areas of life. And I flew out to Nashville, what was it, 7 years ago?
2018 was May of 2018. So yeah,
7 years ago. 7 years ago next month, right? Is that right? 2018, 19, 20, yeah, 2025.
Depending on when you're listening to the interview.
Yeah,
here.
Well, I'm here right now in March. And so 7 years ago, I came out here because I had lots of revenue streams. I was making money in a lot of ways, but my energy was all over the place. It was scattered. And just because I could make money doing something, I was doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, I can make money doing this. Let's go do it. And this, let me go do this. And all these things, let's take it all. It's like, let's do it all. But I was feeling like something is just not, like I'm okay at these things, but it's not like what I really want to be doing. And I can't sustain this in the future. And so I flew out to Nashville. We spent a couple days together, and you walked me through a few frameworks and some kind of just brainstorming that allowed me to see things differently. And I want people watching or listening to start thinking about their life and the money in your life right now and the work and the time you're investing in your life. And is it serving you at the best level right now? And I'm not saying what I'm doing now is perfect and I don't have challenges here and there, but I feel on purpose, I feel in alignment, and I can say no to money and be at peace about it. Because there's a lot of money-making opportunities that come my way that I say no to, where I wasn't able to do that in the past because I felt like I needed to get as much.
And that's part of how you know you're here.
Exactly.
When you
I'm
can say
okay
no.
without it. Now, it doesn't mean I don't
want it.
Don't want it, and I want the right money to come where it feels good too.
That's good.
And I want everyone thinking about that. And so I want you to walk through a framework for people. The first framework that you think will be really helpful based on what we covered here for people either to get clear or to have some other more context around what they should be thinking about, whether they have no clue what they're working on, they've got lots of ideas or passions or dreams, maybe their business is at a certain threshold, but they haven't been able to break through to the next level financially. And I'd love for you to share something if you can. And before you do, if you can throw that slide back up there of the, yes, this is the Make Money Easy book. If you guys, again, have already got a book, I would love for you to go on Amazon. If you're watching on YouTube, we have a QR code right here, right now. If you use this QR code, it'll take you right to Amazon where you can either buy the book or leave a review. And these reviews, I want to get feedback on what you're enjoying about this. And a lot of the content we just shared right here is also in part of the beginning of the book. So even if you haven't read the whole book yet, you'll get an aspect of it from this context right here. So that'll take you to the book page on Amazon. Buy a book for a friend. If you think someone could be stepping into this in their life better, you can also buy a gift for a friend as well. So Roy, I'd love for your thoughts on where you think we should start. If people are, now they kind of have the beginning context energetically.
Yep.
About, they've got some context in their life of maybe they've thought about which quadrant they're in right now. They've started to think about if money was a person and it was a relationship in my life, how is that relationship supporting me, or am I hurting that relationship? Their beliefs around it, their behaviors around money. We've got some of this context as a starter point. Where do we go next? And what is it when you're working with the most influential leaders in personal brands in the world, in the business world, who come here to Nashville to learn from you? What's an exercise that you guys do at Brand Brittles Group that really supports people in this process?
I love that. Well, let's start with the belief, the limiting belief or the errant belief that I think holds so many people back. And as we start to learn about money and we go, okay, I'm open to receiving more money. I want to grow my financial intelligence. Maybe you start studying money. Maybe you start interviewing wealthy people. Maybe you start listening to podcasts about money. There's something you're going to hear that sounds really good, but actually is the thing that holds most people back.
I know what you're going to say.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
Multiple revenue streams.
Multiple streams of income.
I already knew you were going to say this.
Multiple streams of income. Now, this is the dumbest thing on the internet.
Well, here's the thing. Before you go there, because I'm going to push back in one way.
Yeah.
Because I think when you get clear on what you're supposed to be doing, there could be multiple streams within that thing where there's upsells, cross sells,
yeah, maybe potentially.
Add-ons.
Well, let's talk about that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the only thing where I think.
But we're going to use your case study
go ahead.
as a story of this.
Go ahead.
Okay. So now, by the way, so we're going to explain. Sorry, you're taller than me.
Yeah.
You got it. Here, let's just do this. We're going to.
Now, you're saying multiple streams of income is a dumb thing to believe in.
Well, multiple streams of income is terrible advice for someone who's just learning how to make money. Multiple streams of income is not a bad idea. It's just a bad idea for a beginner.
Okay, great.
That's all I'm saying. And when people first start learning about money, they learn from people who make money, teaching people how to make money. And in order to get people to pay attention, they say sensational things that make them think like, oh, that's what I need. And this is like one of the sensational rappers, like, you just need multiple streams of income. And if you pay me 50 grand, I'll teach you how to do it, right? Like that's the thing. So I'm going to show a framework. And by the way, if you're listening to this, you may have heard me talk about this framework before with Lewis, but we've never talked about it in this context. We've only talked about it with your brand messaging. Today, I'm going to talk about it with brand monetization. It's the same concept, but it's applied completely differently. So the concept is something that we call Sheehan's Wall. And we named this after a colleague of mine, Peter Sheehan. And I originally heard him kind of explain this, in a more corporate environment.
There you go.
But we've adapted it to personal brands. And so basically, the way that this works is that you've got two different groups of people in the world. And usually when you and I talk about this, we're talking about building your personal brand, growing your influence.
Yes.
And we talk about on this side are people who are unknown, and on this side are people who are well-known. And we talk about
how to go from unknown to known.
Yes. But what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about this from basically going from, broke to rich.
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's what most people do is they go like, oh, there's all of these ways I could make money. And if you just go on to Instagram or Facebook and you're scrolling, like literally you'll see an ad like every few minutes for like, You could make money doing Airbnb. You could sell T-shirt,
Amazon,
and drop shipping. You could become a speaker.
YouTube faceless
You
videos.
could do video courses. Yeah, you could do affiliate marketing. You could start your own marketing agency. I mean, like literally, and that's what we do. And even inside of your business, and Lewis, you're very graceful for letting us use you as an example.
Use me.
When Lewis first started working with us, and you were our very first client. Brand Builders Group only exists because of you, by the way.
7 years ago, isn't that crazy?
7 years ago.
Wow.
Lewis, we listed every one of your revenue streams, and you had 17 revenue streams because all of your friends were doing free plus shipping and courses and affiliate launches and speaking and private coaching
webinars
and high-end
workshops
events
and membership and everything.
And so
and one-on-one and
all the things. And on the surface, it seems like, oh, I could just add another revenue stream. It would be good.
Let me create all the offerings I can create because it gives people more chances to give me money.
That's right. The problem is that when you do that, you bounce off the wall. And the reason you bounce off of the wall is because of something we say all the way back in my first book years ago, Take the Stairs. If you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. If you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. And this is true also about money. Most of us, by definition, have small businesses or smaller businesses. But if you have a business with less than 500 employees, like you're still a small business.
Yeah.
Most people watching this, listening to this, probably have a much smaller number. Well, let's just say that you have 10 units of resource, okay? And that could be time, team, technology, capital, prayer, whatever your units of resource are.
Yeah.
If I have 10 units of resource and I spread them across 10 initiatives, then on average, each initiative gets how many units of resource? One. So that's what most of the world does. Is we go, oh, I have a new idea and a new idea and a new idea and a new idea. And someone else pitches me an idea and I'm like, oh, great. Like, let's go do this. Let's go to this course about, reverse mortgages. And let's go to this course about, whatever, making money in the market. And we're spreading our time, team, attention, capital, prayer across all these units of resource. Compared to what happens if you take those 10 units of resource and you lay them all down on one initiative? The likelihood of that one initiative succeeding goes up exponentially. And this is what we did with you, which you've been so, I mentioned this, I sent you our new book that's coming out, and I said, you've been so generous with your praise of us, but legitimately, I think maybe the only thing we ever really did for you was I asked you one rhetorical question. Is I said, Lewis, what would happen if you stopped doing all of these things and you just went all in on the podcast? It wasn't even a conclusion I had drawn. It was a question of going, you're doing all of these things, but you say you want to make, impact 100 million lives. And this podcast, which is kind of like a side thing for you, is really gaining momentum and you're really good at it. And it's life-giving, it's low stress, it doesn't require like massive expense. What if you just went all in on this? And I don't think people really understand this story in full. You had a mastermind that was generating like multi-million dollars a year in revenue.
Yeah.
You and Matt and I had one conversation in a hotel lobby. You were doing this.
Yep.
And my friend Lewis, y'all, has big cojones, as we sometimes say. We had one conversation, and he decided in one moment to walk away from more than $2 million in revenue in one conversation.
Yeah.
To go all in on the podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
it's crazy when you think about it.
It's crazy. And honestly, I was also at the time not totally convinced it would work. So I was pretty, I was
like, hopefully this works.
Hopefully this works.
You got to have faith, and you got to know that, like, oh, I could always go back to this also. If this doesn't work and I'm broke on my sister's couch, like, okay, I can make a few offers again and try to find a way to make money. But at the time, I wasn't feeling emotionally abundant. I was financially abundant. I wasn't feeling horrible, but I was feeling like
you were stretched.
6 or 7 out of 10. I was like, nothing feels like it's really great. It's like good, but it's not feeling abundant. So it wasn't like my life was horrible.
No, people were coming at you with all sorts of opportunities for all sorts of things, but you were bouncing off the wall a bit. You were successful by the world's definition. You were successful, but the way our strategy is to go, what if instead we figured out your one thing? What is the one thing that if you went all in on it and you could become, now again, normally in our other conversations, we've talked about your brand messaging and your brand positioning, but the same is true about money. If we go, we call it, in Brand Builders Group speak, we call it your PBM, your primary business model. And we say, one of the most important tactical decisions you can make in your business is answering the question, what one revenue stream matters above all others? What is the one revenue stream that, come hell or high water, like when push comes to shove, we're going to make this revenue stream successful. We don't hope it's going to be successful. It's saying we're committed to it. We're going to not do anything else until this one works. Yeah. And if this one should ever fail, we immediately pull resources from anything else and pull them back here. And when you have 17, that's very hard to do because they're constantly pulling you. And when you look at rich people, since we're now talking about money, and you go, how do they break through the wall? Well, first of all, let's use the metaphor of a wall. So if we were going to like bust through this wall right here, if we start hitting with a sledgehammer all over, we're not going to make much difference, right? We're going to work hard, but we're going to be frustrated. Yeah. But if we hit the same spot on this wall again and again and again and again, eventually we will get traction. Eventually there'll be a crack, a divot, and then a hole, and then you break through the wall by hitting the same spot again and again. Now, once you're on the other side of the wall, right? Once you're rich and famous or wealthy and well-known, as we say.
In your industry or in life or whatever it is.
Yeah. Then you can expand into other things, right? So people like to use like The Rock because they go, well, The Rock has a skincare line. Homeboy's making money from acting. He owns a football league.
Tequila.
He's got tequila.
WWE.
Yeah, WWE. I mean, he's like all these different things. But how did The Rock become The Rock? He was a wrestler.
One thing.
Professional. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Exactly.
Like, that is how the guy got famous. People like to use Elon Musk, and they go, well, what about Elon Musk? He's got like Tesla and SpaceX. Yeah, he does. But he is the best example. Go look at Elon Musk's life. He got rich from one thing. Do you know what it was?
PayPal?
PayPal.
Yeah.
All of his money came from PayPal. He took tens of millions of dollars, and then he spread this across, because this person has resources. So remember, if you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be focused on it. It means someone has to be focused on it. When I have $100 million, I can hire people to wake up and be focused on it. But you as an individual person cannot be focused on 100 things.
Same with Richard Branson. He's got, boats and hotels and telephone companies, but he's able to hire the right people with the resources, and they can go focus on those
But
things.
in the beginning, how did he make his money?
It's one thing.
Virgin Records.
Yeah, Virgin Records.
Virgin Records. But Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Bill Gates, Microsoft, our friend Jamie Kern-Lima, It Cosmetics, Sarah Blakely, Spanx, right? Jennifer Lopez, right? They start as one thing. Yeah. They are one thing. And the key is going, how do I become the world's greatest or one of the world's greatest on one thing?
Yes.
Then multiple streams of income if you want.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot to be said to just keep going, but you can hire people, you can get stuff done. But over here, if you do it, you're going to stay broke. And you're going to stay busy, and you're going to stay broke. And It's frustrating.
So what's the for those watching live, or if you're watching the YouTube after the fact, what's the biggest takeaway you're hearing from Rory in this example? And share how this has either supported you in your life by you applying this already, or where you see this might be hurting you in your life with the things that you have going on. I'd love to hear in the comments below how this is resonating or speaking to you in this. And once we get clear on this, let's say people watching or listening, and myself, I got clear on this and I started to eliminate certain things over a period of time. Some things I eliminated right away. Some things I eliminated in the next 2 years with a roadmap. Okay, I can't just cut out all this revenue right now because because I got team and bills and
Yeah.
expenses. So I'm not just going to say no to everything and try one thing that's not making that much money. Whereas originally I was a course and education business based on revenue streams, but I wanted to become an advertising business based on the content that I was doing with the podcast. And I wanted to get there, but I wasn't there yet. So I knew it was going to take time. It was going to take hiring the right people. It was going to take focus. And it wasn't going to happen overnight. There was a process of time doing that. But for those watching and listening, what would be the next step to then creating financial freedom in their life?
All right, so we've got another drawing, another framework. We've never talked about this one before. So the next thing.
And for those watching and listening right now, if we can write up lewishouse.com, just so we have it there, /brand call. I believe that's the link.
That's it, yep.
Brand call. If anyone at any moment, you can go to this page and open it up and submit a form, because Rory has been a great partner and a great friend over the years. And we've had, I think, thousands of people go through this process where if you're not clear on your business strategy right now, where you're going with your business, maybe you're distracted, you feel like, I haven't been able to break through the $100,000 mark or $500,000 mark or 5 to 10 million mark, or something is blocking you. Rory's worked with billionaires. He's worked with tons of New York Times bestselling authors. I don't know, like 30 of them, I think, in the last few years now, or something crazy like that. And he's helped people at all different levels of their financial process and their business process create freedom from peace of mind and clarity on how to do this. He's got an entire team here that will walk you through a free strategy call. If you go to this page right here, lewishouse.com/brand call, you can fill out a form to get on a phone with one of his key strategists to just help you get clarity on where you're at and what the next steps might be. So sign up for that call at any moment. We'll also link it in the comments below, but that'll be there for you guys to sign up. So go ahead, this new framework you're talking about.
Love it. So to your point about the transition, because you made a split-second decision to cut out a couple $1 million in revenue.
Yes.
That was a big swing, which is a good point, though, because you're able to do that when you're not married and you don't have kids and you don't have a lot of bills. One of the best things you can do financially to take more risk is reduce your expenses.
Yes.
Lower your appetite for material goods. And, if you don't have a lot of responsibilities, you can take more financial risks. So, but regardless of where you're at on your journey, this will help you. So we call this the golden grid. And this is how you create the transition plan for your financial future. So it's really simple. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at this through two lenses. So short term and long term. Okay. And we're going to just do a super simple exercise. Right here is what we call your, I said this earlier, your primary business model, your PBM. Then you have your secondary business model. Then we have ancillary revenue streams. And a huge part of the power of this is just getting clear in your own life, where am I and what am I dealing with? Now, the most important one is this one. We want to identify what is the one revenue stream that matters above all others. But pragmatically speaking, we have to look at that through short term. Like it might be your day job, right? Some of you watching right now, it's like it might be your salary job and you go, I have to succeed at work. I can't let that fail. It's paying the bills. It gives us health insurance and I'm saving money or whatever. It could be a day job, or it could be the thing you're doing now that you don't want to do. Like in your case, it was courses. People thought of you in different ways, but in reality, on your financial statements, you made money from courses.
Most money came from courses.
The most money came from courses. So even just being clear to go, okay, I'm a lot of things, but what am I really? And this is a simple question to answer because all you got to do is look, where's the cash flow coming from, right? So you're going to put something in here. And here's the thing. This is what you need to do. or you have to do. This is what you want to do.
Long term.
Long term. But you have to do what you have to do in order to earn the right to get to do what you want to do.
Yes.
Now, the lower your appetite for material goods and the less obligation you have in your life, the shorter the runway can be, because the more you can hit the gas pedal of risk,
Yeah.
and you can take off like you did. Now you're a married man.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. Fortunately, you married a sugar mama, so it's even
She's-
better.
Yeah. She's a money magnet.
But we want one thing here. And we also want one thing here, right? So the key is we want 4 one things in these boxes. And sometimes this drops to this. Sometimes this drops here. Sometimes this drops off. So it's different for everybody. Now down here, you can dump other stuff.
Yeah.
But
So like right now, my main business, primary business model is ads.
Ads.
Advertising, sponsors, ads. But an ancillary revenue stream is I've got a book, right? It's like
Yeah.
I got a book and my audio book and the physical copy and
Yeah.
speaking. And
speaking might be on there, but
I
even that,
say-
you don't do that a
I
ton.
don't do much at all. So it's like I'll do it when it's convenient to me and it makes sense, but otherwise I say no to a lot of these things. The book is not like a massive revenue generator. It's more of a brand positioner and a service piece. How can I add value with my content and context?
And it's a gateway to your main thing.
It is. It's a gateway of drawing people in so that they'll consume my podcast in a deeper, more meaningful way, things like that. I mean, if it makes a lot of money, great, but you don't have the control over that necessarily. You have to sell so many books to do that. So, but it's ancillary.
And when you slot it, things become super clear. But until you put
Yeah.
each thing in here, you go, for a lot of us in our mind, we have 3 things here. And you go, you're not going to succeed with 3 things here.
Yeah, I'm a coach and I create content and I do sponsorships and I write books and I speak and do workshops and I do membership. It's like all these things at once.
And it's fine if this doesn't exist yet. That's long
Long-term,
term. But we got to go, what is practical and real? How do we keep the lights on?
Yeah.
But also, what are we building towards? And we want to focus on this and ratchet this up as much as possible. And we have a rule called the 70-30 rule, which is basically the way to make a transition, because we get asked this question a lot, right? Is like someone requests a call and they go, well, I have a day job, but I really want to be a speaker. I really want to be an author, or I really want to become a coach. We work with a lot of experts and entrepreneurs are the 2 primary groups we work with. And they go, how do I know when to make the leap? And the answer is 70-30, is you go, all right, so right now we got to go, what's the main thing? And that's like 100% of the money's coming from this thing. And then we want to build the new thing. And we build up the new thing into where the new thing is about 30%. And once it gets to 30, then you can make the leap and kind of like go for it. Because it's hard to get it past 30 without going all in. But if you're at least 30% of your income is coming from that, you know it's going to work.
If you're doing 30% with 10, 15% of your time.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, I'm doing this on the weekends or at nights or whenever, lunch break or whatever, I'm able to make this money. And now what if I had all my time? Then I could go all in on it, and that 30 could get to, maybe 50 pretty quickly percent of the money it was making, and then hopefully 100% and beyond.
Yeah, and when you look at money and doing new things, you hear the term runway a lot, and I think that's actually a good metaphor, because it's like, how long is my window to succeed with the new thing? You extend your runway by limiting the amount of cash that you need to get the thing off the ground. Yeah. So if you keep your expenses down, you work pretty lean, and you stay out of debt, and then you're extending your runway. You're giving yourself more time to take off before the plane just kind of crashes. So keeping the expenses down is a good thing. But that's where we got to start and go, all right, what is in this? Now, there's really only 5 ways that personal brands make money that we've
What's that?
We've seen.
Share that as well?
Yeah, sure. We can actually, let's do it on this. We got this up here. You want to do a new page?
Let's do a new page. Put it up there again.
All right.
You run it up here again.
Okay.
LewisHowes.com.
All right, right here.
Yeah.
Okay, LewisHowes.com/brand brand call. Okay. So.
And so right now you're going to talk about the 5 different ways that personal brands can make money.
Yeah.
There's only 5 ways. There's not 12 or 17.
Really, we put them into 5 categories.
Okay, cool.
Okay. We call them the paids. So there's 5 ways to get paid. And if you look at, now personal brand to us also, we've talked about this on other interviews. It does not mean speaker, author, coach. Personal brand is simply the digitization of your reputation. So we work with professional service providers, accountants, lawyers, doctors, chiropractors, because they're still a personal brand. It's anyone who's using their reputation to drive revenue.
For their local community, services in their town, or whatever it might be, their state.
Totally.
Not just someone who's also trying to reach a message to the world, like a lot of personal brands you work with as well.
Yeah. I mean, we work with some of the most famous, people who reach millions and millions of people. But, when you and I started working together, so I looked this up, that you had started the podcast when, 2012?
Yeah, 12 years ago.
Yeah, so 2012.
So it's been 5 years since we started this process. I was doing the podcast for 5 years.
You had done it for 5 years. It took you 5 years to get to 30 million downloads.
Yeah, now it's over 1 billion.
When we started working together and we did Sheehan's Wall, you went from 30 million downloads
to 100 million,
500 million in
2.5
years.
Something crazy.
And then you've done another 500 million since it's like
exactly.
over 500 million since then.
Yeah.
So a billion. So you're a great testimony to the power
because we went all in and made it the primary thing.
Right. And most podcasters, it's one of several things they do. So who's going to win? Somebody who just does it and it's all we care about and it's top-notch guests and top production quality and perfect editing and just all we promote, or someone who kind of has a podcast, they do a little bit on the side using Zoom and crappy cameras, right? Like that kind of a thing. So, all right, so back to this. So if you have a pile of followers and you want to turn them into a pile of cash, 5 vehicles to do this.
And before you share the first one, again, for those watching or listening, if this is resonating with you, leave a yes, leave a comment below that it's resonating. And if there's been an aha for you, let me know so we can see what you want to hear more of in the future around this type of content. Leave that. If you have a question around some of these things, feel free to type in a question as well so we can continue to be of service to you and know more of what you need to be successful. So the 5 things starts with what?
All right. So the P stands for products. Physical products, right? This is Sarah Blankley with Spanx. This is Elon Musk selling Teslas. This could be selling day planners, t-shirts. Like, it's a physical product. You look at Shark Tank, it's almost all physical products.
That's food products.
Could be a shake, a vitamin, like a physical product. There's advantages and disadvantages of each of these. We can talk about it. The A is ads and affiliates. This is your model now.
Yes.
But it wasn't your primary business model when we met.
No.
Your primary business model was actually was selling information. Mm-hmm. So this is courses, coaching, consulting,
memberships,
certifications, assessments. These are basically, you could think of this as digital products.
That's a college or a university as well.
Yeah, college or university, great example. But you're selling knowledge of some type. Then the D is deals, which are third-party deals, book deals, TV deals, brand deals, movie deals, licensing deals. This is where it's usually a royalty is involved. That's like the classic sign. It's usually later in someone's career stage, but you're being paid in advance to create something, and then you have an earn out that you get like a long tail, royalty or whatever. So there's deals, and then there's the one that is this is the fastest path to cash, and this is the one that is the biggest opportunity that most of us can break free with is services. And this is a time for money exchange. Okay?
It's the fastest way to make money, but it's the hardest to scale.
Exactly. But people poo-poo on this because they're like, oh, well, that's not scalable. Well, something like coaching is a good example, right? People will be like, oh, you don't want to do coaching. Coaching's not scalable. Well, 2 things. One, any service is scalable through one mechanism. You raise the price. right? I used to do keynotes at $5,000. Now I do them at $65,000. It's the same keynote.
But is there a limit though? You can't scale to $1 million.
Oh, well,
Some
I
people
did
do.
an event. Well, I did an event a few months ago with Tony Robbins. He got $1 million.
Right.
So you can go pretty high, right?
Right.
So one-on-one coaching, you raise your fee. Consulting, you raise your fee.
Sure.
The other thing is you create other people and you train them, like Brand Builders Group, right? We have about 1,000 clients in our coaching program. I can't coach 1,000 people. That's why we have full-time employees. We certify them as strategists. It's what they do. So
Where would software go underneath?
usually software is kind of like
information.
it's information. It's like an information product.
Gotcha.
You know, so
Like email marketing service or software.
a lot of that tends to sort of stick in here.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of like a digital product in some ways,
it.
but it tends to focus more on like these.
Gotcha.
Now, any of them can be good. All of them is bad. The idea is not that you should do them all. The idea is that you should choose one, and we have to weigh the advantages and disadvantages. And when we take questions, this would be somebody could say, well, I'm trying to choose between these, and we could talk through maybe someone's personal situation. So these are the only 5 ways to make money. Now the question is, how do I know which one is the right one for me, or which one is the best one for me?
How do we know?
Well, we use another acronym. We say, look for the dares. Okay? D-A-R-E-S. Okay? Now, the dares are the perfect characteristics of a perfect modern day business model. So, we're looking for things that are D, digital, whenever possible.
Automated.
A, automated. R is recurring. E is evergreen. And S
Scalable.
is scalable. Digital, automated, recurring, evergreen, and scalable. So if you look at...
If people can assess this for themselves right now and just think of what is my business model or all the different things that I offer. Am I offering multiple things or one thing? And do I have 17 revenue streams, or am I going all in on one thing? If you just looked at that first, you'll have a clear picture of maybe why something's working or why something's not working. And if you look at this as well, is my stuff digital, automated, reoccurring, evergreen, scalable, or is it only one of these things? Then you can also have some awareness around if something's working in your favor or not working in your favor, and now what to do about it next. And so
as you weigh, if you were to take each of these and give them a score of like each of these, it sort of tells you like, okay, what's the right fit for me? You would also add stress. That's one
score.
What's the stress score?
So how would you do both those scores?
Yeah, like if you were actually going to do it, you'd go, okay, so products, you would go, how digitized is this product? How automated is it? Right? So digital means it's digital. There's no physical.
Someone buys it and they get it instantly. You don't have to ship something.
That's right. You're not manufacturing. You're not sourcing materials. You're not dealing with warehouses. You're not dealing with shipping. You're not dealing with tariffs. Well, you still can have refunds.
You're
even
not dealing
for
with like
digital
someone
things.
shipping back a refund physically and
Oh,
then
yeah,
having
yeah,
to
yeah.
restore it or
Like
something. Restocking.
consignment. Like, yeah, that you're not dealing with that. Automated means it's self-service. Like a vending machine technically is automated, even though it's not digital.
It's got some automation to it, but you still have to go and serve it.
You do.
Once for a
but you go, what's the level of automation here?
Yes.
How much is the customer dealing with it themselves versus you having to provide it?
Laundromat's automated, but you still have to go refuel it every once in a while.
Yeah. So we've not founded a business model that is perfect on all of these. We get asked that question a lot. So the best example, because we do get this question a lot, is Netflix. So Netflix is digital. There's no physical inventory. It's automated. There's no salespeople. The customers completely self-select. It's recurring. You pay for it every month.
Don't they have ads and spot promotions though? Don't they have?
Well, you got to sell it. Yeah, you got to sell it perpetually, but the revenue is recurring as a customer.
Yes.
You pay the $10 a month. It's evergreen because once a movie is in there, you never have to update the movie. But it's not evergreen. This is the part.
You have to keep fueling it.
New content all the
exactly.
time, otherwise people cancel.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty scalable, right? Like it doesn't, you add a customer, it doesn't like change anything.
Yeah.
So, there's different scores. Now, like a laundromat can be a great business, but you got to look at the stress score. And I also say you got to look at passion, right?
Yeah, do you care about it?
Do you want to do it? Like there's lots of ways to make money, but it's also like does it align with your personal brand and what you want to do? So that's all. Those are all factors to this, right? So we're just kind of weighing these out, and some of them it's like for you were doing this, so we knew that you understood the world of digital, but it was like you were launching stuff constantly and it was stressful.
It's a lot.
And meanwhile, it's like the podcast is sort of taking off to go, well, what if we just did this and the advertisers were just paying?
And it wasn't even making any money really then. It was
wasn't.
like
It was low on the list.
We weren't even thinking about ads or affiliates at that time just because we're like, we just want to give it away for free and help people. And we don't, any of that stuff.
It was a traffic source to sell courses is really what it was at that time.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, so each person is different. And, we look at, all of these things to help you. And that's why it's like, we can't tell you what's the right answer. It's unique for each person.
It's a self-reflecting process.
Yeah.
An assessment. It's assessing for yourself. We had a few questions come in here. I wanted to get to some of these. As a real estate investors, or even just realtors in general, which category are they in with the paids section?
Real estate agents for sure are down here in services. We work with a lot of agents because you're using your personal brand, not because you want to sell a course. You could do that, but most of the real estate agents we work with, they're trying to drive more listings or something like that.
And if you're a real estate investor, then
that's probably a time. I would call that's a service.
Really?
It's like you're selling the service of your time to yourself because but it's like you're investing the money, you're managing the money. This is like a real estate investor is like a financial advisor, basically, right? Like your business is finding opportunities to make money. So I would.
You got to go out and source deals, be on the phone. You got to go look at properties. You got to vet them. You got to do all the due diligence.
And we love real estate in terms of, if you look at, if we went back to your quadrant 3 about going just how do you make money?
Yeah.
There's a few things that really make money, right? It's like, first of all, I have a good friend of mine, Jason Dorsey. He says the money's in the money. If you just want to get rich, just manage money. Just be in private equity, take a small percentage of big transactions. Like you make money managing money because you're a conduit.
You are.
Banks make money. Credit cards make money. They're just, Venmo makes money. It's just little percentages of these
big pies.
Big pies.
Or it's like if you want to make money, like solve rich people's problems.
Solve problems for rich people. Yeah. You sell private jets, you sell yachts, whatever. But real estate is the other one that's really great. We tend to be in like information marketing is a great one.
Yep.
There's network marketing, like people can make real money. We have a lot of billionaires that we work with, 100 millionaires that are in that space.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different ways to make money. So real estate is a great one, but so I would put that one here in terms of what's that category. But yeah, it takes work. The point I was going to make is there's no such thing as there's very few things that are true passive income.
Yes. And someone was asking about, between all of these, what is evergreen? And I'll share that from my perspective with the business model I have. One episode that I do on the podcast is not news related. So it's not like time bound of like, I'm going to get a lot of views because I'm responding to something that happened in the news yesterday or today. And therefore everyone's going to watch this, but then no one watches it later. I do evergreen content on the School of Greatness. So I find a subject matter, an expert, a celebrity, someone who's fascinating or coming out with a new book with new research or science, and I have them break down that subject matter. This piece of content right here, this is originally being recorded live from a money mindset class, Masterclass. But this is being recorded and it will be up on YouTube and audio forever. And we'll be able to use clips of this on social media. We'll be able to continue to monetize this, putting it up once and making money on it forever, potentially, as long as the platform's around and they keep allowing for monetization. So I have videos on YouTube or audio episodes that continue to make dollars every single day from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Amazing.
Some of them make $100 a day. Some of them make 5 cents a day, right? But it's one piece of content and it's supposed to be evergreen where it can live potentially forever or very long periods of time. So that's evergreen. A book is evergreen in a sense as long as it doesn't need to be updated constantly, as long as it's not, I don't know, around that idea that then, oh, there's new research and science that like breaks this idea and it's outdated. So as long as you make it evergreen, like this book is meant to be evergreen for, I don't know, 100 years, because it's more around mindset. It's not about what's happening in the market today and how to invest for the next 2 years. It's not about that. It's about understanding who you are, how you interact with money, and how to have a better relationship with money. And I think that's now and going to be in 100 years. So this is evergreen. This content that you're listening to, watching, is evergreen. This format of paids and dares is an evergreen IP, an evergreen concept.
Intellectual property.
Right? It's your own IP that this will last for a long time. You could use this IP for decades and it'll still be relevant for people today and in 10 years. So that's the concept of evergreen. Do you anything else want to expand on that?
I mean, I think you hit it. Evergreen means it doesn't need to be updated.
Yeah.
Right? If I wrote a book about AI or a book about social media,
it's got to be updated every 3 months.
It's got to be, yeah. I mean, it's like it's outdated before the book hits the shelves.
Exactly.
So that's what evergreen is. We have another question. It looks like that came in.
Yes.
Where
do I find a good accountability partner and mentor? Well, I think the first place you want to start with, I think, is finding the information. Depends on where you're at. If you're broke, I think the best place to start is finding free content where you respect someone's ideas or their story or their career or their legacy of their life, where you can go and learn from them for free. So I have that with the podcast where I bring free content from people. You might be able to read someone's newsletter or blog post or watch their content on social media, read their books, things like that, where you can start depending on the level you're at.
And by the way, on the free thing, it's good to pay for things.
Yes.
And even if you don't have money, like, you should share Lewis's content, share the episodes, comment, leave reviews. You asked for a review on the book.
That's
you can
generous.
pay. That's that's creating the generosity flow of like, thank you for this incredible free content. Let me share it with a friend. That's how you pay and start that flow.
But if you're in, when I was getting started, I was using LinkedIn to reach out to local leaders. I was joining Toastmasters. We were both in Toastmasters, and I found a mentor who taught me how to do public speaking in Toastmasters. I think it's like $100 a year or something like that. So you can find it by joining communities or local business networking groups. You can find local mentors who are even just a few steps ahead of you who you can really learn from. They don't have to be billionaires to learn from them. But if you're in the entrepreneur, content creator, personal brand expert, you're a doctor, you're a real estate agent, you're someone who is building credibility in an industry, the best place to find mentorship truly is to do a strategy call. And if you just go to lewishowes.com/brand call, the link is right here. You can get a free strategy session from one of Rory's top strategists here at Brand Builders Group. So I would go there if you're looking to build your business, your personal brand, your messaging, and expand your influence, whether you're a doctor, a real estate agent, a dentist in a local community, and you want to expand there, or if you're an author, a speaker, a content creator, and you want to expand to the world your message, sign up for a call right now and get a free strategy call at lewishowes.com/brand call. Let's see if there's another question.
There's another question. This is good.
Go ahead.
So it says how to scale as a doctor, like i.e. one client at a time. Okay. So when you look at how to scale a service, so I'm gonna answer this question specifically, but then it's gonna trigger me for a framework that I think will apply to everyone.
Perfect.
Okay. So for a doctor, and one of our clients is Dr. Gabrielle Lyons. She's amazing. You've had her on your show before. She's phenomenal. So any type of service, I think the two fastest ways to scale a service, one is you raise your price, right? As a speaker, this is one of my revenue streams, my secondary revenue stream is speaking, right? You raise your price. The other is you train other people how to deliver the service for you, and you run the marketing and sales engine to drive that in.
Leads.
You're basically driving leads and customers, but then you're outsourcing the delivery. That's what I do now at Brand Builders Group is, I don't coach very many people one-on-one. There's a few, right? There's some
for the right price.
For the right price, and there's high profile people that I work with, etc. But Many times I don't need to be the one because our curriculum is so tight and trained to our strategists. We can scale it and we can offer it much cheaper because it's not dependent on me. So that would be one thing. But for both a doctor and for everybody, I want to do another monetization framework. And we've never talked about this before either. So this is good. All right, so let me put this back up here. lewishowes.com/brand call. All right, this concept is something that we call fractal math. So this is an advanced monetization strategy. And if someone's a doctor, I think it fits anyone who is like a real expert. They can do this. So here's the concept of fractal math. The concept of fractal math says that 10% of your customers will invest 10 times more.
Really?
Yes.
10% will invest 10 times more.
Yeah, so watch this. So let's say that you have a $30 product. $30 product. And you have 1,000 customers who bought it, right? So you have 1,000 customers. That is 30,000 in revenue. Makes sense, right? So you got sort of like this kind of situation. You got 30 customers, or $30 product times 1,000 customers is 30,000 in revenue. Now, if you said, how do you double your revenue? One obvious way is
double your customers.
Double your customers, which is how most of us would think. Go get 1,000 customers, and that's not bad or wrong, but it is the most expensive way to double your revenue.
And it's the hardest, probably, right?
And the hardest, and the reason is because the hardest type of customer to get
is a new one.
Is a new customer. Also, the most expensive type of customer to get is a new one.
Yeah.
Inversely, the most profitable type of customer to get is an existing one. Yeah. And so if you apply this concept of fractal math here, and you go 10% of your customers, which are these 1,000, so 10% of 1,000 would be 100, will invest 10 times more, meaning they would buy a $300 product. So now you have more like, this kind of scenario, something like that.
What is 100 times 300 is?
This is 30,000.
30,000. There you go.
So you just doubled your revenue. Here's what's wild about this. You doubled your revenue without adding a single customer acquisition cost.
You just made a new offering.
What's happening here typically is intimacy is increasing. Okay, so
more time, more connection to you, more access to you, more something where you're invested in them deeper.
Yeah, you got it. It is, so this continues on, right? So you'd have 10 of these people would buy a $3,000 product. That's another 30,000 in revenue. And then one person
would spend 30,000.
Yep, $30,000 product.
One. Yeah.
And one customer over here.
And the graphs keep.
Yep. Yeah. But you've quadrupled your revenue without adding a single customer, right? So if we kind of go like this, right? This is this, and this is something like this.
Wow.
Now, so that is how fractal math works. This is for advanced people. Remember Sheehan's wall?
Yes.
In the beginning, you want to do this. You don't want to
add all these.
You don't want to start with all this. You want to do this, and you want to crush it.
Max it out.
Max it out. When that baby's running on autopilot, right? And if you're a doctor, there's a good chance where you go like you've been doing it for a hot minute, and you're like, how do I scale? I'm starting to think about that. You go, okay, how many customers have you had over the years? Some number of people will invest 10 times more. This is what, my doctor now, I pay my doctor, we have a private physician. We just pay a monthly retainer whether I use them or not. But they're there, like
You're
if
on
I'm
call, you're
they're on
FaceTime,
call.
they come to
Yeah, they
you,
come to me, whatever. Like if there's I need a script or something, like they do telehealth. I mean,
you're
they're
not
there.
waiting in lines at a CVS, you're not going to like
None of that junk.
urgent care, or you're just like, hey.
And by the way, so we haven't talked about this, but one of the most important concepts of how rich people think is most people spend time to save money. Rich people spend money to save time.
Yeah.
And that's when you really when you get into that, a healthy relationship with money, and you go, my time matters way more than my money. I will spend money. That's why we hire people, right? It's like we're hiring people constantly because it's like I need stuff done so that I'm not doing it. I'm spending. When you do coaching, when you know, this question somebody asked is a great one about a mentor. Why do you spend money? Because it's like you could figure out how to become a New York Times bestselling author all on your own. It's probably going to take you 20 years. I can teach you in 2 days how to do it. Exactly, here's everything you do. And that's when we've done it several times. Same thing, you know, you want to be a Hall of Fame speaker? Like we can teach you in 2 days. Like here's the system. You know, real estate investing, you could stumble your way through it. You could pay someone, not us, because we don't do this, someone to teach you how to do it. So you're spending money to save time. And that's what people are doing here. By the way, so if you look at increasing price points, what we typically look at is you go, here's how to either make an offer more enticing or to have them pay more. We call this making your offer sexy. Okay, so what we want is we're giving people will pay for speed. People will pay for execution, which is like done for you. People will pay for exposure. And then people will pay for intimacy, which is, you know, intimacy, which is access. Sorry, I'm running out of space here, but
it's all good.
Intimacy. So I was talking about intimacy here, but that's how you move people this way, by increasing the speed, increasing how much of it's done for them, giving them additional exposure or intimacy. And
What's the E?
Execution.
Execution.
So like
when someone executes it for you.
Yeah. So for example, so I just use Brand Builders Group as an example, right? So like somebody's asking this question: would a brand strategy call work if I don't yet have clarity on my brand? I'm a viewer who wants to speak to young athletes and students. Absolutely. You're the epitome of what we do. Today has been all about money. Normally what we do is help people get clarity on what their brand message is, who their audience is, all that, what problem they solve first. But we're a strategy firm first. What's happened is people are like, okay, well, once I get clear on the strategy, who do you recommend I use to build the websites and write the copy and like do all the marketing automation and build the funnels?
Ads,
And we have not touched it because we weren't able to. But now we have reached a point of scale over 7 years. We now have 50 employees, and you know we're an 8-figure business. We now have something called Instant Automation Toolkit, where we can help people execute upon some preset number of things that we do. That's execution. It's like, oh, it's done for you, right? So speed, execution, exposure, and intimacy. That's how you increase. You either increase the price, or if you were just doing this and you wanted to get more people to buy this, you give them these as bonuses.
That's beautiful.
That's what creates conversion.
And someone was asking, how can I stay encouraged when others doubt my passion-driven work? Well, I think one thing, spend more time with people that are encouraging you and less time with the people that are discouraging you, or just don't talk to those people about your stuff if they're constantly doubting you or saying, you should be going for something else. It doesn't mean you have to remove these people from your life forever. It's just maybe talk about your passion, work, and your projects with other mentors, friends who are kind of guiding and encouraging you more and really supporting you. And you can also have a conversation with those that are discouraging you, if they're friends or family, and say, hey, listen, I know you're worried about me doing this, or you've seen me fail in the past, but this is something that really lights me up. And I want to feel close to you. I want to feel intimate to you, but sometimes I feel discouraged when I bring this to you. My request is that when I do bring it to you, you be positive with me. You accept it, you know, you encourage me, you give me good feedback and coaching. or you just don't doubt me. You know, you can be neutral, just don't kind of crap on my ideas. So that's one thing I would do is really find a couple of good people that believe in you, that are your cheerleaders. And at the end of the day, you may not be able to find that, but you've got to be the one to be a cheerleader to you either way. There may be seasons of life in that space.
There's so
Go ahead.
one thing on this, because this is an important question where you go, how do I stay focused on my passion when other people are discouraging me? One of the things that is so true about this, you will never experience haters who are further ahead than you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Like people who are successful, they don't have time to hate on other people.
Yeah.
It's almost always from someone who is not on the journey. And the other thing is like, don't take discouragement from someone who you wouldn't take their advice. If they haven't done what you've done,
don't take it.
Their opinion is irrelevant. Now, if they have done what you're trying to do, I actually would listen to that person.
Listen to them.
I would listen to that person, but it's almost never someone who has done the thing you're trying to do.
Yeah, Rory and I have never left a negative review on another author's book.
Yeah, I know.
We've never said this book sucks. I'm going on Amazon and I'm typing how bad they wrote this book, because we know how hard it is to write a book and put it out there. I've never gone to a podcast and said this podcast sucks on Apple Podcast, because I know that people are doing what they're doing, and I'm not even thinking about that. I'm not even thinking, how do I leave a negative review and criticize someone? It's not really my place to do that unless someone is asking me for feedback. But speaking of feedback, I am asking you for feedback. Go to Amazon and leave me a review for the book, and let me know, again, if this has been supportive or helpful for you in any way today. Leave a review and let me know your thoughts. Buy a copy for a friend as well. And let's help people have a more empowering, powerful relationship with money so they can feel emotionally abundant and create the financial abundance as well. And Rory, as we wrap this up, I don't think we knew exactly what we were going to create today.
We didn't.
But I feel like from the beginning, if we go back to the beginning for everyone watching live or anyone watching this replay, this evergreen piece of content that could last forever. We talked about the relationship each one of us has with money and trying to identify it as if it was a person.
So good.
And what that relationship looks like, feels like in our interaction with money on a daily basis. We talked about our beliefs and our behaviors that are in alignment with our beliefs, and probably why we have the money or the life we have today and the energy tied into money. Then we went over a number of frameworks that you taught me 7 years ago that have helped create me a level of financial abundance that I didn't have before, with the level of peace around that money and less stress of trying to do it all. And also, this is stuff that you've been teaching people for the last 7 years now. You've helped over 1,000 clients that you have currently. You've helped a lot of billionaires launch books, get clear on their message, their brand identity. You've helped people at the beginning stages, people who have already made it at bigger stages, reinvent, and everything in between. And so whatever spot you're at, whatever starting point you're at, whether you've made it and you're trying to reinvent or you're just getting started, I highly recommend you go to lewishowes.com/brand call right now and just fill out the form. It's a quick questionnaire. You can get on a free, I think it's like a 15-20 minute strategy call with one of your top strategists who have all this information, who's also been in these rooms, worked with these big influencers. How many New York Times bestsellers have you gone through this process or coached in some way now?
Well, we've helped 60 clients become New York Times, USA Today, or national bestsellers. We've had 12 of our clients in the last 15 months have become New York Times bestsellers.
Right, exactly. And you've helped people scale their revenue streams, their opportunities. But again,
just drive leads to their business. I mean, it's just using your personal brand to get your expertise out there, just like you do, adding value to the world, building trust at scale, and driving those as warm leads into your business.
Exactly. So whatever point you're at, if you're looking for more emotional peace, you're going to get the frameworks from Rory and his team about how to get clarity on your business, which will give you more joy and peace emotionally and not stress of trying to figure it all out. And if you're looking for more financial abundance, the same thing you'll get by going through the process and executing it when you sign up for lewishowes.com/brand call. So whatever point you're at the right place. Get signed up. And I want you to share below in the comments on YouTube or on social media your biggest takeaway from today. Maybe it's something we said in the beginning, maybe it's one of these last things, maybe it's one of the acronyms. There's all these different things. We've got pages of frameworks here. But what was the thing that stood out the most for you? Leave a comment below. I'm curious where you guys are at. And how can we continue to support you moving forward? If you have a question, if you want to learn something new about building your personal brand, your business, or your mindset around money, leave that question below, and maybe we'll do some more content that in the future. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for being here today. We hope this has been valuable. I want to thank Rory for allowing us to use his incredible space here at Brand Builders Group. This again was the Make Money Mindset Masterclass. The new book is out right now. Make sure you guys grab a copy. Go to Amazon, go to your local bookstore, get a copy right now. If you already have one, get one for a friend. Go get one for a friend that you want to see continue to thrive in their emotional abundance and their financial abundance in their life. And please leave a review over on Amazon or Goodreads or wherever you want to leave a review. And with that, I appreciate it, Roy. Any final thoughts around the biggest takeaway for you, or that something that opened up for you from our conversation, whether it's something I said or something you said?
Well, I think the way that you present that metaphor of think of money as if it were a person, if you learn about the person, you care for them, you serve them, you treat them well, you're going to have a great relationship with that person. One thing that dawned on me that we didn't talk much about is that those people who are in that quadrant 2, sometimes they think it's like unholy to have money, but there's a great story right out of Jesus's mouth. It's the parable of the talents.
Yes, so good.
And
share it.
You know, basically he says, you know, if a master were to leave leave his household and he leaves, you know, these 3 people these talents, like money. He gives one guy 5 talents, one guy 2 talents, and another guy 1. And he comes back years later and the guy has 5 talents and he says, you know, what have you done with these 5 talents? He said, I turned it into 10 talents. And he says, well done, my good and faithful servant, may you be blessed. And then he goes, the guy with 2 talents, he says, what have you done with my 2 talents? He said, I turned it into 4 talents, you know, and he says, well done, good and faithful servant. And then he goes to the one with 1 talent and he says, what have you done? And he said, I was scared of losing your money. I know how shrewd you are, so I buried your talent. And here is your 1 talent return. And he says, you wicked and lazy servant, take your 1 talent and give it to the one who has 10 talents, because he who has done well what has been given to him will be given even more. And he who has not done well with what he has, even what little he has will be taken away from him.
Wow.
All of us have, whatever your spiritual beliefs is, the power of God inside of us. We're creators. We're multipliers. We don't need to hoard money. We have a God that provides for us and cares for us, right? Says right in the, Jesus talks about this, like God provides for the birds. The birds don't store up anything, and he provides for them. God clothes the flowers with beauty. They don't do anything. He provides it to them. So we're the beneficiaries of a God who can bless us abundantly. Our only job is to take what we've been given in terms of our time and our talents and go out and serve people and help. So I would just say, serve, create, expand, multiply. That's how you make money easy.
That's a beautiful, beautiful way to close it up. So Roy, thank you so much for your service, for teaching us, for helping me and my journey. I appreciate you guys all for being here, and we'll see you in the next interview.
Bro, that was great. That was so good.